Good morning, my Zentangle friends. This is Barbara Langston, CZT, Certified Zentangle Teacher. It is an early Sunday morning for me, and I'm hoping that the changes in the sun as it comes up right in front of me aren't going to cause too much trouble here. Instead of starting with my usual pattern that I have sitting down here, I wanted to show you a little sign that I have that I keep in front of me. I used to have this in my notebook when I started taking my first Zentangle classes, and I just had to keep reminding myself, this is not a contest. You're not being graded. Just enjoy each line because anything is possible one stroke at a time. Of course, Maria said that. And then I have some other quotes around here. You're welcome to take a screenshot and look at those. I'm grateful to have the time to do this morning. I also have to say that I'm very grateful for the hospital where my niece is. She has COVID and things were touch and go for a while, but I think she's going to be released from the hospital. So very grateful for that. Okay, so today I'm going to show you a new pattern by Tomás Padrós, and he is in Spain. And he is a teacher, and well, he is a CZT, but I believe he's also like a high school teacher. And I love his patterns. They're so detailed, and this is the newest one that came out on tanglepatterns.com, and it is called InSpiral. And it is very similar to a class that I taught. If you look at the website for tanglepatterns.com, there is a few lessons on drawing skills by Simone Bischoff. And I'll try to remember to put that information into the description. But I had fun with this one. It's a really good meditative type pattern. And it's simply auras with a little spiral in them, hence the name InSpiral. I did this one with multiple colors of fine line pens. Did this one just on cardstock with the circle that I cut out. Did this one on gray. And I like being able to add the white chalk, so that's what we're going to do today. I have picked out 6 different colors of pens, just some basic colors. These are Statler fine liners, so they're a fine tip. And then I'm going to have my 2 blending stumps, my graphite, and my white chalk pencil. Okay. And I am going to use one of my pieces of paper from my journal, where I cut these pages and keep them in there until I'm ready to draw something, and then I take them out. And I do have another video that shows how I've done this. And again, this is a gray, and it is about 4 inches. Well, it's 4 inches across and up to this line. And I put the line so that I know where my square is. And I am going to put a border on this. I decided yesterday that it would help to reduce the size of this a little bit. You don't have to have a border. You can do this on a 3.5 inch square Zentangle tile, any size you would like. Okay, so just a simple 4 corner dots and border. And the way that he does this, if you go to the tanglepatterns.com, let me start with this. The basic pattern is that he does just a simple shape in the center. And then he adds an aura. And in the lesson that I was talking about on sharpening your line skills, Simone talks a lot about mountains and valleys. Okay, so a mountain and a valley. And Tomás talks about concave and convex lines. And I'm going to refer to these as mountains and valleys as I go around this pattern, because I think it's a little bit easier to understand it that way. So in the valleys around this shape, we're going to make them close together. The mountain auras are going to be a little bit wider and further apart. So here's another valley. So we go down close. And then for the mountains, we come around higher, go down in the valley, up and high around the mountain part. Okay. So that's basically all there is to this. Start down in the valley, come around, go down into the valley again, high around on your mountain. And then you can stop and put one of these spirals wherever you want. And when you add a spiral, you're adding mountains and valleys. Okay, so I'm going to come over here to this valley, and I'm going to start another spiral since I ended that line. And here's my mountain. Go down in that valley, come up high around your mountain, down low into the valley, come up high, go down to your valley, and again come around high, and there's your valley again. And I do start and stop. Another way that you can add a valley is to come down on top of one of these. Okay, so down in that valley, high around the mountain. I'm going to do the same thing here. Kind of created a valley there. And then just keep coming around. Remembering that your valleys are close, your mountains are high. And once you get into the swing of it, it is a very meditative pattern. Very easy to do. And I'm going to stop here with another spiral. And then you could just start anywhere else. Let's say right here. I'm just going to start another little spiral and go around. Okay, he even makes one of these into a little flower, which I thought was really cute. Okay, so that's basically how that works. You can start in the middle with any shape that you'd like. One of his, I think he started with just something like that, almost a circle, however you want to do it. Okay, so I'm going to put this first one kind of in the middle of my tile. And I'm going to start with that three-sided little shape. And then choose anywhere. Go down in your valley. Come around. Your valleys are always closer, the mountains are higher. And in the tanglepatterns.com on the step out from Tomás, he has some tips and things. The basic pattern after the first or second aura, I'm going to go ahead and put one more aura. That's when you start adding your spirals. So I'm going to add one more. Go down in the valley, come up high on your mountains, and then come back around to where you started. Now I'm going to start my spiral. And just leave yourself enough room to come down into that valley a little bit. And then you could just come right here and do your other spiral. Okay. And then I'm going to start another aura by starting with a spiral here. So we've added more shapes by doing this. You can add as many or as few of these little spirals as you like. And I'm going to put one valley here. Come around. And another thing that I did was you can come up and put a spiral on top of one of these. Okay, so where I put that spiral, I'm going to start with one more, or where I put that valley, I'm sorry, and then come around and start doing your valleys and mountains again. And then I liked how in the examples from Tomás that after just a couple of times of putting these spirals towards the center of the pattern, he just went on with doing the auras. I hope I haven't come off the camera. This is a pattern that's very easy to get started, very easy to focus on if you like to use that kind of line drawing as a meditation, and I do. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I've said it before, I like patterns that are easy to remember. And this one, once you understand that you're going low in the valleys and high on the mountains, then it's super easy to remember what to do. And in his example, he showed some that he had colored. They were very nice. Okay. And I think I'm going to stop with this color by ending with a spiral here. Okay, so there's my first shape. This is kind of a fuchsia color. I think you could see it easier on this. But now I'm going to pick one of my blues. And I'm just doing this kind of random. And this time I'm going to start with more of a, I guess you'd call it a peanut shape. Okay. So now here's my valley. Going around my mountain. Valley goes down low and close. The mountain comes up high. And let's do that one more time. And you can have your lines as close or as far apart as you like. I'm adding a swirl here. So again, that adds a mountain. I'm going to add a valley there. And I'm going to add a valley there. And I'm going to put a swirl here. And then I think I'll go to this valley and start again with a swirl. And you can choose to go outside of your border. Remember, it's only suggestions, just like strings are only suggestions. Okay, I think I'll add another spiral here. And then I'm just going to keep going with, oops, kind of missed that valley. I'm going to keep going with this pattern and not add any more spirals. Okay, so that's our second one. And that's the color. Now I'm going to change colors to a green. And then I'm just going to start in a random place. And I think I'll make this one almost squarish. So this one has 4 little sides coming out. And I think I'll go ahead and put a spiral here. And a spiral here. And then I'm going to start with a spiral. I think I'll start it on this side. And if I get really quiet, it's because I really get into this kind of pattern. And I am going behind the patterns that are already here. I'm going to put a spiral here. And then go up here and start a new one. And again, I like how he only puts a few. I put too many on some of the first ones that I did when I was practicing. And then again, after I went back and read his suggestions, it made a lot more sense. And Linda Farmer, who does the tanglepatterns.com website, she said, "You're welcome to call them mountains and valleys instead of concave and convex." And so I said, yeah, that sounds better to me. Okay, so this is the last spiral I'm going to add. And then I'm just going to add auras. What really makes this pop after you get these done is the shading and the highlighting. If you don't have the Renaissance tiles, save some of your paper sacks that are more of a dark craft color paper, and cut your paper sacks into tiles. They make a really nice background, especially when you're going to use the white chalk. Okay, and I'm talking and moving off the screen, and I apologize. Okay. Bring a line down here. This will be the first one I've done with the border. The border lines, anyway. Like I said, this one didn't have a border. And also this one did not have a border. So I wanted to see how I would like it. Just going to go ahead and add the lines to this corner. and also here. Okay. I'll do a couple more here. Okay. So now I'm going to switch to a little bit darker blue. These are the two blues that I have. And let's try to start this one with like 5 petals if we can. 1, 2, 3, 5. Looks like a little flower almost. So we'll go down in the valley and come up. Okay, I'm going to add one more aura before I add any spirals. And I'm just doing this randomly. No rhyme or reason. Just what if I do that? How will it look? Okay, I'm going to add my spiral here. And then add another one here. Let's start the spiral at this point. Here. And then after this one, I'm just going to add auras. Maria always said, when in doubt, add an aura. Of course, that's the main part of this pattern, but just a reminder, when you're not sure what to do on one of your patterns, just add an aura. That's one of the first things that we're taught with the pattern crescent moon on the first tiles that you're taught, the classic. My fingers start to get tired. Loosen your grip. Breathe. Relax your shoulders. Let this be a meditation. Go ahead and put those lines here. And a reminder that you can go much slower on these than I'm going to make them even more meditative for you. Okay. I'm going to switch to another green. So it's kind of like a sap green, or this is kind of a lime green. And then I think on this one, I will do kind of another four-sided start. Well, it turned out to be more of a 3. That's okay. It's all good. Okay. Just pick wherever you want. Your shapes are not going to look like mine. And these are not meant to look like anything in particular, except for auras with lots of valleys and mountains. Turn your tile to keep your hand comfortable. Try to remember to keep your hand relaxed. And then I'm just going to continue to fill this. More than welcome to fast forward in these parts so you can see how it's going to look in the end. Trying to not go too slow. I would go slower during the meditation, but I want you to see the finished product. I like how these look going behind each other. added a valley. So I'm going to add a spiral here. Just for fun, it was getting kind of wide. And I think he mentions it in the notes that when one of these gets kind of big, that's a fun time to add a spiral. Change your pattern a little bit. And if you have watercolors or pastels or just colored pencils, you could color each of these in with those colors. But I'm just going to now use my graphite pencil. And wherever I have a valley, I'm going to add a decent amount of graphite in there, going around my little spirals where they cause a change of direction. Oh, and you could take a picture of this before you put the graphite on. It's always fun to see how much difference it makes when you start adding shading to a pattern like this. Okay, so where this pattern has gone behind this one, I'm adding some shading on the outside of this pattern that I did. I'll add graphite on the outside of this one that I put in the middle and add my graphite to the valleys on this one also. You could, if you wanted, go in and completely darken the centers, like on this one. But I did it on one, and then I thought, nah, I really didn't want to do it on all of them. I almost wish this gray was a little bit darker. This would be really pretty on, like I say, on a craft color brown, a darker brown, but the only problem was I wanted you to be able to see these different colors, and they won't show up as well on a craft color paper. Okay, so let's do this blue one. Wow, this one goes far. Okay, I'm hoping my dog doesn't go crazy. The squirrels are taunting her outside my window. I have a tree close to my house, and the squirrels jump from the tree onto my rooftop, and then she can hear them running, and it makes her crazy. Okay, so adding graphite on the outside of this pattern where it's on top of the pattern next to it. Okay, I'm sure I missed something, but I'll find it as I go along. So I have two different blending stones. Okay, so I have one marked white to use with the General's charcoal pencil, and this one is going to be used for these. So I am going to soften this and then also kind of pull it up toward the center of this arch on each of these, and it gives it a nice rounded look. And I'm not going to put my graphite on top of the spirals. I'll leave them kind of clean, hopefully. Okay, so pulling this graphite out a little bit in each direction, soften it and pull it, and that is going to give us kind of a rounded look on each of these where we have the valley. It will make it look like it's deeper. Yep, I missed that. And of course, add more graphite if you want to. And I have enough graphite left on this tortillon that if there's a couple of places that I've missed, then I should be able to have enough left on here that I can still move this around. The sun is about to come over the rooftop next to me, and it's definitely changing the shading, how it looks on this tile. Okay, so just keep going with this. I like the long ones on the ones that Tomás did and showed when he submitted this pattern, because he definitely has used colors and then the white charcoal. So the graphite is enhancing the look or the feeling that these valleys are deep on these patterns. And then the graphite we're going to put on the mountaintops like snow. So this is the General's white, and on wherever I have what looks like a bunch of mountaintops, I'm going to add some highlight. And that's going to make it look like those tops are coming toward you. The valleys are going down, the tops are coming up. And where you have some that branch off, just kind of softly bring them together where they meet. Okay, just keep going with your graphite pencil. I'm sorry, with your white charcoal. You could put a little bit inside this top one. Okay, and then once you get all those done, then you can soften it with your tortillon, or you can just kind of gently rub it with your finger. I don't want to wipe it off, but you don't necessarily want a sharp look to it. Add more if you have a really fat one, and then just kind of soften it. Okay, let me back this out a little bit. All right. I don't think I've missed anything. That one looks kind of odd, so I'm just going to add a little bit wider line of the charcoal, the white charcoal. And you can, even make it go out at the same angle to get fatter at the end. Just play with it. What if I do this? How's it going to look? Okay, I think that's it. And I am going to use the blue down here and bring my chalk. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you'll use it for a meditation. I know I've used it several times now. Here's that one. And that one. And this was just one that I used to see how the white and the graphite were going to look. And again, that was InSpiral by Tomás Padrós in Spain. If you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up. And I would appreciate a cup of coffee if you're so inclined. I appreciate those of you who leave comments and have supported my channel in any way. You make me very happy. I'm very grateful to be able to teach you. I hope that you have an awesome day, and I will see you next time. Bye.